My horror story as a tow truck driver. I was a registered tow truck operator for about 2 years. It was a great job, pay was good, lots of overtime and on-call shifts. I got into the career because of shows I watched as a kid like Highway Through Hell. So when I got the chance to go into the field, I jumped on it. The first month was good, I learned a lot of experience and new skills. Part of our job as RTA was emergency calls with police and fire for crash scenes and impounds. So we saw a lot of tragic stuff, DUI fatality, hit and runs, non-DUI fatalities etc. The job can be very emotionally and mentally draining and can mess you up if you're not careful. However, there's another kind of aspect to the job not a lot of drivers talk about. The paranormal, odd stuff or calls that unsettles you. Almost every tow truck driver has experienced it. It was a snowy cold November night in 2023. We didn't get a lot of calls that day, so I was just chilling at the shop for my on-call shift. The night was going very slowly, we hadn't gotten any calls for hours. So I lay down for a bit, not expecting to get any call for night. Then all of a sudden I get a call for a broken down WSP, Washington State Patrol, car off this dirt road. I didn't think much of it at the time, it wasn't a wired for me since I have gotten a few calls like it before, so I hop in my flatbed and drive up to the call's location. The directions took me a good 30-ish minutes outside of the city to the mountains on I-90. By the time I get off the freeway it was super foggy and very hard to see, so I took it slow and easy to be safe. I keep driving up the now dirt mountain road and then I start to thinking to myself that this is a really odd road for WSP to be on since they usually stay on the interstates and state highways. I didn't think much of it when I first got the call because staters and sheriffs do occasionally go out on the more remote roads, but the road I was going on was an unpaved dirt logging road. There was nothing out here, just an old logging road and trees. I try to rationalize it to myself that maybe the cop was just out here for an abandoned car, which would explain why he is all the way out here since cars do get left and abandoned out here often. So I just shrug it off and continue my way up the road. I finally get to the location and stop the truck dead in its tracks and just sit there for a minute. What the hell, I think to myself. The WSP car was parked out on this mountain road with all its doors open and no lights on, with no officers in sight. It was so foggy I really could only see the car, but it was clear to me that no one was in sight. I very heavily contemplated just turning around and going back. But I eventually decide to hop out and inspect the car and look for the officer, since he could have been injured after all. So I hopped out of the truck and grabbed my AR with my sidearm holstered. Since I had no idea what I was about to walk into, I walked up to the car very cautiously. Just because I had my guns on did not make the situation feel any better nor safer. I first check out the driver's seat, then the passenger seat. I think to myself, nothing is missing. It was like everything was frozen in time. At this point I'm starting to get a strange feeling like something is off, that when I look into the trunk of the car and not the AR is missing. I immediately freeze up and look around. As I'm looking around, that's when I noticed that the forest was dead, quite no wind, no nothing. I have seen a lot of messes up stuff, dead bodies, entire families killed in one accident etc., but I was completely unnerved. Something inside me was telling me to get the hell out of there. I managed to gather the composure to do a walk around one more time just to make sure I didn't miss anything. Then I called my dispatcher just to make sure I had the right location and information, and sure enough everything was correct. At that point I was ready as hell to get out as fast as possible. Right before I turned the truck around I yelled out just to see if I'd get a response, but nothing but dead since came back. Something is deeply wrong, and tit this I said to myself and booked it out of there. The whole drive back I had this sick feeling like I stumbled across something I was absolutely not supposed to see, or if I was even supposed to be there. I keep thinking why the cop was all the way out there, why he left the car, or why all the doors were wide open, or if it was even a cop in the first place, more or less why only the AR was missing when thousands of dollars worth of equipment was in that car. Once I got back to the shop I called a police dispatcher that gave us the call. Since I knew her I was hoping she could give some answers. But no, she said the exact same thing that was said to me. That a WSP car was broken down and just needed a tow. I never told my supervisor or anyone else out of fear that they wouldn't believe me. I mean, I wouldn't if I were them. I never heard anything about a missing cop after that, nothing on the news, just nothing. It still creeps me out to this day thinking about.